Hi, my name is George Ismail Jr., and this is a different type of recording. This is my words of war and wisdom. These are more going to be things that people don't want to talk about: politics, religion, and I'll talk sports sometimes if I feel like I need to. Now, I just wanted to talk to you today because I saw while I was scrolling down that Charlie Kirk, a conservative commentator, is was on Fox News. And granted, I don't watch Fox News. I do. I've watched a few of Charlie Clark's videos, and he's a very intelligent man. I cannot argue that. But on Fox News, according to the Facebook post, he says that the one sole Republican in the New York mayoral candidacy race, Curtis Lewa, needs to step down, and they need to support Eric Adams, a corrupt politician, so that he could become mayor, because we can't afford to have New York City run by a socialist, a Nazi, however you want to go and look at it. But that's what he is, a communist who's trying to take over New York City and strip away the people's property rights and their freedoms, and they don't even understand what's going on because history is not taught. And unfortunately for Charlie Kirk, I don't think he knows the history of how New York got to this position where we can get such a fellow as this socialist cretin running for mayor in the city of New York. So I want to go and rewind and backtracking and give Charlie Clark my response of why he is wrong, and that we do need to support the Republican nominee, Curtis Lewa. Number one, the history of New York. New York has had a history of being run by corrupt Democrats. From all the way back to Tammany Hall, when all these people were coming in on the boats, all these immigrants, they conned these people. They would take these people's money. They would put them in tenements, and they would stick them there where they would be basically stuck for life. Well, that was their plan. Some people were smart enough to leave New York City because what the Democrats had planned for them was basically the northern version of slavery up north. And people do not talk about this in history. But yes, there was a northern form of slavery, and it was being run by the Democrats up north, especially in New York City and cities like Philadelphia, places where the big cities. So these corrupt Tammany Hall people, they were running it. There were exceptions to the rule. There were Republican mayors, and they did some changes and they did some good. But in 1990, Time magazine had an article on the cover of their magazine. They had a picture. On that picture was the Big Apple, but it was called the Rotten Apple because the city was so rotten. It was so bad from decades and decades of bad Democrat mayor rule. And we were suffering from Mayor Dinkins. Now, Mayor Dinkins basically was the first DII hire because he won because of the color of his skin, because he was nowhere near qualified to run the city of New York. Now, Mr. Charlie Clark, who thinks that we need to support a corrupt politician instead of someone who is not a Republican, to support a Republican who has now shown any signs of corruption, in Curtis Lewa. Mr. Charlie Clark, I have to ask you, do you know New York City history? Because right after Dinkins, the city of New York voted for its first Republican mayor in decades, in the man known as Rudy Giuliani. In 8 years' time, he cleaned up the city. In 8 years' time, he changed the culture of the city. We went from becoming a city that was fast becoming just like Detroit, a mess, into a new shining apple. And again, in 2000, New York Times, they did an article talking about how wonderful New York City is now, and it was all because of the leadership of Rudy Giuliani, a Republican. There was a Republican in the mayor's office. There was a Republican in the governor's house in New York, in the state of New York, and something changed. What changed? Well, New York has a term limit, and so Giuliani could not run for a third term. There was another man. His name was Mayor Mike Bloomberg. Mike Bloomberg is a multimillionaire. He has his own little TV channel. He is a Democrat socialist. He has always been a Democrat socialist, and he wanted to become mayor of New York City. Well, he's not going to win as a Democrat socialist. So what does he do? He switches party and he runs as a Republican. So popular were the Republicans in the year 2000 that Mayor Mike Bloomberg won in 2001. This is history. You can look it up. Mike Bloomberg, for his first term, he didn't do that much different than Giuliani. He did some things. He raised taxes. He did some things. He increased government. But it was a slow kind of burn. He got reelected. Second term as a Republican. Mind you, never has he ever changed his belief. He is a Democrat. He is a socialist. He continued to make changes. Unfortunately, in a place like New York, name recognition means everything. That's why Cuomo won the governorship, son of Cuomo, and he turned out to be a corrupt politician just like his daddy, and he got caught, unlike his daddy. So he had to step aside and resign from the office. But we're not talking about Cuomo yet. This wonderful human being, Mayor Mike Bloomberg, ran again and won. And then he got the law changed so he could run a third time, because 8 years of Bloomberg was enough for the city of New York, you would think, but nope, he wins again. A third term, but this time as an independent. Now he is a complete and total Democrat socialist. He is not hiding the fact, but I will tell you this, and I'll say this really quickly. Mike Bloomberg damaged the name Republican in the city of New York. He was a Democrat who ran as a Republican, and he damaged the name and the credibility. The second problem that happened to Republicans in the city of New York, and this is very key, on that third term that Mike Bloomberg was running for office, in that third term, a bunch of Republicans, smart people, said, we cannot have Bloomberg win a third term, so we are going to fold and back the Democrat candidate. And that was the biggest mistake the Republican Party has ever made in the city of New York. And after that, the Republican Party no longer cared about the city of New York because they felt like they can no longer win the city of New York. Not on principles, not on ideas. They said, oh, everyone's just going to vote Democrat. They gave up and surrendered, and they backed a Democrat, which is exactly what Charlie Kirk wants the Republicans of New York City to do. He wants Curtis Lewa to back down, to resign, and to back a Democrat who is shown to be a corrupt politician. Mario Cuomo had to resign. He's a corrupt politician. And all of a sudden, he's running for mayor in New York. He loses to this socialist, this communist, this evil man. And instead of stepping aside, he's still running. And Eric Adams is still running, even though he did not win. He lost the primary. You have 3 Democrats, 2 of them lost, and they're still running. Why don't they resign and let everyone back Curtis Lewa? And I'll tell you why. Because they don't want anyone that has any moral standards. They don't want anyone that has any moral convictions to stand for what's right. Curtis Lewa and I do not agree on everything. Curtis Lewa and I do not think alike, but he is a New Yorker. He is born and bred in New York. He started the Guardian Angels to protect the common citizen when the police could do nothing. So I don't know everything on his platform, and I probably do not agree with everything on his platform, but I will say this, he'd be a much better mayor than Eric Adams, the corrupt politician that we know that he is, at weak-kneed. And he's a much better politician than the man that had to resign from being a governor because he was so corrupt. And yet you want us all to tell him, please resign and go and do something else because we don't want you to be the mayor of New York because we don't think you're strong enough. Well, dear Republican Party, who is as corrupt as the Democrat Party, it seems like, you, dear Republican Party, who is full of the swamp and needs to be drained like the rest of the swamp in the Democrat Party. I'd say 99% of the Democrat Party is swamp and needs to be gotten rid of. I'll say this, 75% of the Republican Party needs the same kind of draining because that's how bad and that's how corrupt the politicians in this country has gotten. But I will support, if I was you in New York, Curtis Lewa because he's one of you. He is a New Yorker. He is from New York City. He has served the people of New York City. You may not agree 100% with him, but it's much better than having a communist. It's much better than having a socialist, which is basically the choice of 2 things. And they're both on the same side. Eric Adams, Mario Cuomo, and the man whose name I do not want to mention, the socialist, the Nazi that he is. I don't want to give him any more name time on any kind of media than he already has. They're all on the same side. They're all students of Karl Marx. They all love socialism. They all want to strip the people of New York, the city of New York, of its freedoms. One is just more extreme than the other because he wants to take your property rights. So if you own property, he wants to take it away. I don't understand why Charlie Cook would say that Curtis Sliwa needs to resign, but look at the news and look at the polls. And if you don't notice, Curtis Sliwa is rising in the polls. Almost as if maybe the people of New York do not want to be under communist rule. But then again, I could be wrong. You have enough illegal voting going on in the city of New York, unless illegals are voting for different political positions, that they very, very well vote in a communist. I'm hoping the people of Ukraine that left and are in exile in New York, I hope they all vote Curtis Sliwa. I hope the people that escaped the Iron Curtain, everything behind the Iron Curtain, will vote for Curtis Sliwa. I do not want a man, any of these three that are on the Democrat ticket, to win this, because New York doesn't need more socialism. New York needs more freedom. And the problem is, you don't even understand that you're being strangled to death. You're that frog in the water that's getting warmer and warmer, and you're getting cooked to death. Because I went to New York just a few months ago, and it is far worse than it was 5 years ago. It is far worse than it was 10 years ago. It's making Doomberg looked like it was a golden age, but the golden age was actually started by Rudy Giuliani, a Republican with convictions. Again, a man I don't agree 100% with, but he was right and he was good for the city of New York. So Charlie Kirk, conservative influencer, I have to say no. We do not need Curtis Sliwa to step down. We do not need to back a Democrat who is just as bad as the socialist that is running. The only difference between Eric Adams and the communists is this. Eric Adams is still lying to the people and saying, oh, I'm one of you. He's not. He's a socialist. He's a Nazi. Just as bad as the other one. The other one is honest. The other one at least is telling you, hey, I'm going to take all the freedom away. That's my end goal. And that's the end goal that we have to stop. And if New York City falls, it is a financial capital of America. We're in trouble. For too long, the Republican Party has turned its back on the city of New York. And so far, all I see is the suffering that is caused by the rule of the Democratic Party in the city of New York. Here's my words of war and wisdom. Charlie Kirk, you're wrong. Curtis Sliwa needs to win. And every person, every American, every independent, every Democrat, every Republican needs to say, hey, we need to vote for one of our own, and we need to vote for that man because he is one of you, and you need to vote for him. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck in communism. There are people leaving New York City in droves because they cannot stand what has been done to their beloved city over these Democrats that keep winning. We can't afford 4 more years. New York City, I love you. I am from Brooklyn, New York, and proud of it. We need to take a stand. We need to stand and get rid of these socialists. We got to get rid of these communists. We got to make New York City great again. Make New York City free again. Thank you for your time. These are my words of war and wisdom. Have a good day. Bye.